One of my students, his name is Dave. He's over there. Raise your hand, Dave. Dave's going to come up in a few minutes. We're going to talk about our latest wholesale deal where Dave bought it. 2 homes, probably worth $430,000, Dave, fixed up. And how much did you spend out of pocket? Zero. And I did get the email confirmation today because we closed on it this past Friday. They are selling it to us for, buying it from us, the wholesale buyer, both properties for $230,000. So we'll talk about that in a minute, how we got the deal, how we structured the deal.
Hi, I'm Victor Moss, real estate attorney, broker, and investor, but no one really cares. What they care about is that I'm a problem solver. So that's what I do for a living, is solve problems.
I'm going to show you to find deals you never even knew existed.
Deals are everywhere, but you got to get off your butt.
One deal is all it takes to change your life. Victor freaking Moss, that's right.
So I want to start off with a real life example of what we're talking about, real estate investing. So I'm going to invite Dave Canning up. He's one of our students. Give it up for Dave. Give it for Dave. Dave, would you come around there? So Dave and I are very much alike in one way, and I think we're very systematic about what we do. We want to know the steps. Dave, tell them a little bit about your background. Were you a rocket scientist, or what were you?
Actually, you guys got this okay?
Just speak up. Sure, do it.
About 30 years ago, I was a peak season hire and Christmas hire for UPS, and went out and was a driver for a very short period of time. Got fired on Christmas Eve, and got a call back 3 months later, and spent 27 years with UPS, 5 different cities, 11 jobs. As I said, I started as a peak season hire and finished as the Vice President of Sales for the West Coast.
Not bad, right?
And then I watched a guy I worked for die of a heart attack the day after he retired. And I decided that at 59 3/4 I was done. And so got away from it and went out and ran marathons, climbed mountains, and then one day, I think my wife called my son and said, "You need to find something for your father to do." And in doing so, Grant and I, he now lives in Houston, but he and I started doing the investigation of real estate investments. My educational background is I have a degree in finance from Arizona State University, so I understand the numbers. I have a sales background, so it fit. And Grant and I did a couple of the gurus. In fact, one, I went through the notes the other day. They wanted $50,000. We went to a 3-day seminar in Austin, and let's just put it this way, we didn't show up for day 3. And then my son found Rhea and found Victor, and we showed up to a monthly meeting, and in turn I signed up to take the class. It's interesting, Dad went to the class, the kid didn't quite make it, but and that was a little over 2 years ago, and Victor and I have done, you'll hear about the next deal, but that will be our 3rd one together. I've been doing this for 2 years. I figured out the other day I've spent between education, data mining, and some other things, $13,000. I've made over 100 grand in this game. And in a post-tax scenario, we're taking home 70 cents on the dollar, so it's not a bad move.
Not a bad move.
Not a bad move.
Yeah. So I think, is it this year we've done 3 deals already?
Yeah, this will be our 3rd one.
Yeah. Where are you finding the leads?
So, in going through the class with Victor, it was really, it was something I knew nothing about. You know, you don't know what you don't know. So in turn, went through the classroom environment and learned how to find the leads. Started with code violations, and the first 2 deals we did, that's where I found them.
There you go.
Have expanded out into data mining, because there are some great companies out there that for a decent subscription fee and $100 a month and give you access to whatever query you want to do. And now we've expanded into that. And we've gone through marketing things. We've done text blasting. We've done a myriad of different things. Hired a virtual assistant in Thailand. And at the end of the day, you got to talk to people. And
But I don't want to talk to people.
then you're not going to be successful.
You could always get a partner
Yeah.
who's good at talking to people.
Exactly.
Maybe you're the computer guy and I'm the sales guy, or vice versa. Get a partner. If you can't do something, get a partner.
And I think, it's one of the things that it's working with Victor is, if I look at my own personal skill set, I understand numbers explicitly well. I negotiated $100 million deals for a Fortune 25 company, so doing the negotiation was not a problem. And then managing that process, and the last one we did, let's just say it was a very emotional sale for these people, and it was also a difficult personality. So my skill set is to take that and finish the process with them. His skill set is outstanding from the standpoint of he understands the business, he has connections in the business, and the disposition side is, it's become your forte. I mean, this is what he does extremely well. So we match up together from a partnership perspective, and understand, we do them on an individual basis. It's not like we're sitting here saying, we're partners. It's, I'll bring something to you, and you may look at it and go, nah, I'm not interested, I'm not in. Or, yeah, hey, I'm all there. Or if it's a small one, I'm sitting there going, hey, I'll do it by myself. I can turn it into a wholesale deal, find a flipper out there that wants it, and make a few dollars. So it works. He and I work really, really well together from that perspective. And like you said, we have the same we analyze things the same way. It's like, okay, the numbers work or they don't. And it's not an emotional answer. It's not an emotional.
He's unemotional like me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next question. How'd you find this particular lead? And you use a service.
Yeah.
And you sent them some stuff. They didn't respond. What'd you do?
So what we did is, there's a company called PropStream out there. That's my data source. So we data mined, and what we were looking for in this particular campaign was vacant properties. And so we went out, and this is when we started into, and I call it, the commercial, the easy button. It's called PropStream. Yeah.
There's a lot of them out there. Real Estate IQ. Anybody know any others? There's listsource.com. There's quite a few of them. Just, look, distress home list. Type that in Google, you'll see like 1,000 companies. Okay? Check out other, like Bigger Pockets. They'll tell you what they think on some of these lead sources. But it's all just a crap shot, really, at the end of the day.
So, and we got into doing what we call text blasting. So we would sit down and we'd send out, and we get 400 of these things, and we hired a company that would text blast for you. And I'll be straight with you, it was the response, and now you have a legal problem with sending those texts out. So it's kind of found its way away. But the crux of the story is, the gentleman hadn't been in the property for 2.5, 3 years, could not find him. And then based on what Victor taught me, I went to a place called Been Verified, which is another subscription. And off of Been Verified, I found his daughter. And understand, this was last year. And in doing so, I had probably 2 to 3 conversations with her, but she just told me, she goes, hey, Dad's not ready to sell. As follow-up, I keep all the lists of the people that I talk to and say no. And I look back and say, oh, hey, there's Elizabeth. And probably about a month ago, I threw a text out to Elizabeth, and my phone rang 10 minutes later. And she said, it's really funny. I just talked Dad into selling you. Your timing is perfect. And I said, okay. And she lives in Austin. Her father had a heart attack in 2019 and now lives in an independent living situation, but his health isn't that great. You saw it. So she negotiated the deal. And in doing so, it took us about 10 days maybe between the offer and the acceptance, and we closed on Friday.
Yeah.
And we worked our way through it, got it closed, and obviously, the news that you just announced is great news.
We were supposed to close, I think, on Wednesday, and then something came up, and then finally, the day of closing, something else came up. What was it that we just learned?
All right, so, and this is, okay, so for somebody with a lot of sales background, you always have to look back and say, hey, what'd you do right, what'd you do wrong? This is definitely my screw up. All the research I did told me this guy, he was the only one on the deeds. She had told me that her parents weren't together. Okay, so then we have to go fill out this, through title, a seller information form, and Wednesday night, she lays on me that, oh yeah, mom and dad are still married. But he bought the property in 1977 and they got married in 1982, and there was a prenup. So I'm with her Friday late afternoon, because she was down from Austin, and said, I said, do you have a copy of the prenup? She goes, yeah. I go, make sure you bring it to closing. Well, Friday morning, I can tell you, she didn't bring it to closing. And, or she did not have it. And based on the relationship we had built over time, I got her to drive to Austin.
West Austin.
Pick it up and drive back. We moved closing from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., but we got her to do it. And at the end of the day, we handed her dad a cashier's check. There was part of the deal that she got some money, so Victor wrote her a check, and but he sends me a message at like 5:30 or something that both deeds had been recorded and we were good to go.
Yeah. So once we get the deal, we feel good about it, the numbers all make sense. The next step we normally do is that we clean it out. I repeat, we clean out our homes. So if you want to maximize your profit, clean out the homes. Mow it, edge it, trim it, pressure wash, get rid of everything you can inside the home that's just not going to be salvaged. I've done one dumpster, I've done 14 dumpsters from one person who was a hoarder. So then I turned it over to my wholesale buyers. It's like, hey, here's what we'd like for it. Let us know if you're interested. Some folks like to do kind of an auction approach to their wholesales. I don't. Trust me, I've been doing this about 20 years, and I'm telling you, pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered. And I see a lot of wholesalers squeeze every last amount of dollar out of this deal. And they don't care if the wholesale buyer makes a profit or not. And I think you're screwing yourself over long term. Ronnie's one of my contacts in town. He works with a bunch of Mexican nationals that have cash. They want to invest here. And he and I sit down, we go over the numbers, and it makes sense to him, it makes sense to me. And I use a certain formula, and I said, this is what I'd like for it. He says, great, I'll get somebody to do that, and just add another 5 or 10 grand on top of it, depending on the size of the deal. And he produces the cash buyer. And so we talked over the weekend, and he sent me an email earlier today, and I'm going to show it to my man here, and we'll close it tomorrow. That's right, we're going to close it tomorrow, and I'm sure you're excited about that. Hey Victor, the buyer for Dutch Myrtle is going to be so-and-so company, enterprise, managing member is Roberto, blah, 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 here's his address. We're going to agree to 230.
Beautiful.
230. What did we buy the property for, all in, you think?
135.
Shut up.
I can tell you the number is, we structured the deal, and Victor and I were talking about this the other day. If you look at it, you sit down and run those numbers, and he talks about reverse engineering. When I negotiate, I reverse engineer. What's your walkaway price? What is the maximum you're going to pay that you say, okay, anything beyond that doesn't make business sense, I'm not doing it. No emotion, right? All right. The other one is, where's your target price? And then like anything else, hey, what's your opening price? So
Before you give those numbers, can you guys get your cell phones out, get your calculators out? For those who are new to the game, all you have to ask yourself is, what do I think this is going to resell for conservatively? So in this case, you came up with numbers. What was the number?
Okay, so when you sit down and rent Zillow, Realtor, PropStream also will give you a number on value, and PropStream will also give you comps. So, and then you add to that his expertise on the dispo side, and I had it at 436,000.
So let's just say 430 round number. You multiply that by, in my mind, 70%. What's that number? Anybody have a number? Round up, round down. I'm sorry? 301. 301. We'll say 300. I like round numbers. And so what was your estimated repairs?
I always go on the top end and understand it's not my area of expertise. That's what you guys all do. But I had it at 125 at the top end because we got a foundation issue, we got a roof issue. Victor had it at about 100.
Right.
So,
and I did get it inspected by Raul, my foundation guy, and I was expecting 30 grand for a foundation. He was able to do it for 19. Okay? So that helped me calculate my numbers, but let's just say worst case scenario 100.
yeah.
So we subtract 100 from that 300. So what's our max? 200. And so when we approach the owners, I always teach, start as low as possible. You can always go up, you can't go down. And what was your opening offer?
My opening offer was $120,250.
Yeah, it's a weird arbitrary number, right?
Well, here's the other piece. In having done a number of very, very large deals, don't ever negotiate in whole numbers. You always negotiate, you ever notice that you buy a car for $24,999? It's less than 20, there's a psychological disadvantage going to $25,000. So when you sit down and you say, all right, I'll offer you $120,250, two things come out. You now negotiate in $50 increments, and the other part of it is, it appears as if you have sharpened your pencil immensely, and you may or may not move that much upward. As soon as you get to whole numbers, you're negotiating in whole numbers.
And thousands.
Yeah.
It's a weird psychological. But,
Yeah.
but did she argue with this number?
No. So then we also added, it's a quasi hoarder house. Nobody had been in it for 2.5, 3 years. The guy, I can tell you, in one of the garages, there's 6 cases of Dos Equis, empty bottles. And there's dust on all of them. So there's all sorts of things that are a little crazy about this. But we gave the daughter $1,500 in moving and storage expenses. Why? Because I needed her. I had to give her something because she is doing all the work for her dad. But on the other side, her main goal is to make sure that here's a gentleman that is physically challenged and will probably need care in an extended basis somewhere. And we gave him the money so he can get to the end of life without, running out of money. I mean, that's everybody's biggest fear, right?
So why don't they just sell the properties on the MLS? Because no lender's gonna give them a loan. No one's gonna get financed. And yeah, they could have probably gone with maybe a cash investor off the MLS. That's plausible. They probably could have gotten 180 or whatever. But for them, it wasn't about money. So listen to what I'm about to say. Most of these deals, it's not about money. You want to lead with money. It's not about money. It's about solving their problem. In this case, we accepted the home in as-is condition. We gave some money to the daughter, even though she's not supposed to get any money. We still took care of her. And we gave them 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, we gave them, because the daughter and then there's a son involved too, they both work for a living. I mean, they're professional people. And so what we did is we gave them a possession date of October 4th. And that allows them to go through this house where both children grew up and there's an emotional attachment to it. So they can go through, take out the things that they would really like from an emotional basis, but also they don't know what dad has stashed someplace. As she said, she goes, there may be hundreds of dollars behind the refrigerator for all we know. So it gives them the opportunity to go through it, and it works for everyone.
Now, you've been in this long enough to know what I'm going to say. Are we buying houses or are we buying problems?
we absolutely bought her challenges and problems. In fact, you asked about why don't you list it? My question to her was, well, why don't, you've got equity in the property, you can go get a loan against it. Why don't you guys, go do the rehab work and then sell it? And she was like, no, I want nothing to do with that. When she said that,
Cha-ching.
we were done. It was like, we've got this.
So when we closed the deal on Friday at the title company, normally I just pay cash in my office, they sign my deeds, I'm done. But we were concerned about some technical stuff on this property. We decided, you know what, screw it, let's just spend I don't think we spend much on closing costs and title insurance and everything. It was, I think, like $2,000 or whatever. But I sometimes will pay for peace of mind. Anybody understand that? Pay for peace of mind. So let's fast forward. Today is Tuesday. We're gonna close this deal with Ronnie's guy tomorrow. How much money were we out of pocket pretty much for this whole deal?
Let's see, we're out 120 on the
No, you.
And me?
Yeah.
0.
0. Who'd like to do that deal? So only half of you. Okay, who'd like to do that deal? Let's try again. Great. What are you gonna do to go find deals like that? This is what most of you are gonna do. Ready? Don't be that guy, don't be that woman. Have a game plan. Figure out where to look for deals, figure out how to find the deals, and how to negotiate these deals. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. And all it takes is one deal, I believe, to change your mind. I mean, excuse me, change your mind. To change your life. Okay? I see a few folks here I've done deals with. I'm like so proud of these two. They met at one of our meetings, and they are now partners. There's Rick and Adriana. They just met. I met them. I met her at the same time he met her, and now they're married, and they're real partners in life, and now they're doing real estate deals. Those that take massive imperfect action will succeed beyond their mind, beyond limits, if they take action. Those that wish and hope and pray, sorry, you won't. You won't. Dave, did I teach a lot of BS, or did I teach you practical stuff?
No, it was truly practical. And as I said, when he was doing the introduction, my son and I did our homework, we did the research, and we went to the gurus, and there were 2 of them, and it was very interesting. Because at the end of it, the pitch was they wanted 50 grand.
Well, I'll tell you, I paid the 50 grand. Hold on, I paid the 50 grand, and once I met Victor, I was like, anyways, and then I paid Victor.
Yeah, so it was...
For a tenth of the price.
Yeah, it was 3 days, and a tenth of the price, and in turn, as I said, if you take that investment, you take the data mining, it is my company, understand, it is a company that we have spent, and that $13,000 in the last 2 years, and we've made over 100. So has it paid itself back? Many, many, many times.
Do I ever have you throw in half the acquisition costs?
No.
No.
Well, and here's the other piece, and yeah, I'm pitching for him because it's worked really well for me. The other side of this is, if you look at the deal that we did here, $125,000 in rehab, there are not that many people out there that can jump in and do that. So that's the reason I come to him, because he has those kind of connections that somebody has that deep enough pockets to do it. He and I were together after we closed the deal. If I'm going to make $5,000 or $10,000 on a wholesale, do I bring it to him? In most cases, no. I'll do those on my own because he's taught me how to do them. But hopefully, I'm smart enough to know that I need the disposition side of this thing, and I need somebody who has access to those deep pockets when you're sitting there looking at $125,000. Yeah, Maurice, I know. But at the same time, Maurice has taught me something, and that's that I have now secured a private chunk of change for a line of credit for, we're about close to doing the deal, and we're asking the man for $1 million. So it's, and that, again, I didn't know what I didn't know. I had the skill set that I had, but taking the 3-day class, spending time with him, and more than anything, taking the action and screwing up. I have screwed up more times than I know what to do. And, but it's also been advantageous in the end.
As always, thank you for watching. For more real estate investment and legal real estate content, please subscribe to our channel. Please follow me on social media, which you can find linked in the description below. Don't forget to visit thevictormoss.com, where you can register for coaching and my future events. To listen to the podcast, please search for The Victor Moss Real Estate Show, wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, link below. Until next time, this is Victor Moss, signing off. Take care.